Back with us now, Fox News contributor and former White House National Security Advisor. He's retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg. General, it's always great to have you on. All right, so the White House is now on an extraordinary diplomatic mission in Europe this week, trying to tamp down dangerously high tensions with Russia and Ukraine. What's your expectation here?
Hi, Liz. Thanks for having me. I don't expect very much to come out of it. I think today's talks between Wendy Sherman and the Russian ambassador did not come off very well. I think then we're going to have the Russia-NATO talks in the middle of the week, and then the Russia-OSCE talks by the end. Look, we're looking at this two diametrically opposed positions. We're concerned about Russia not telling us what we can do with Ukraine coming into NATO, and Russia is very concerned about security, what they call the near abroad, with Ukraine. And it's compounded by the fact that you've got two leaders, Putin and Biden, who don't like each other. And Putin was told by Biden, you don't have a soul. And Putin does not believe that Biden is a very good leader or doesn't lead from strength. That's compounded by the fact that Russia is considered to be a domestic issue as well. I mean, it's a Pavlovian response when you talk about Russia here with the Democrats in Washington, D.C. They go back to the 2016 election where they, accuse President Trump of being helped by the Russians, which wasn't true, and the Mueller Commission proved that. So I don't think they're coming together, and I think they're talking past each other. I think the big problem, Liz, is I wish they wouldn't negotiate in public. They should be negotiating in private. We should be reminding Putin, look, Ukraine is a sovereign nation. You, the Russians, you agreed to that with the Minsk Agreement in 1991, when you dissolved the Soviet Union. You said Ukraine is a sovereign nation. It has sovereign borders. We should remind them of that. At the same time we're doing that, we should load up and get the NATO alliance and the European alliance to continue to arm Ukraine to the best way possible. And then we tell Putin on the side, look, if you thought Afghanistan was bad with the Soviet Union, if you go into Ukraine, it's going to be 2 times or 3 times as worse. And remind him that's not a very smart thing to do. But also reassure him we understand your concerns and we understand Ukraine's a sovereign nation. But under Article 10 of the NATO treaty and the fact that the U.S. Senate has to approve anybody coming into NATO, we can soft that. We can move that to the right a little bit.
General, don't we want to hear what the White House will be doing in this regard? Because a group of veteran Republicans warn the White House, you got to include Poland and the Baltic nations when talking about Ukraine. They're saying don't freelance on the fly, don't rush it as you did in Afghanistan. You got to consult with our allies. They didn't talk to Ukraine about greenlighting Russia's Nord Stream 2 pipeline. They didn't talk to France about their submarine alliance with the UK and Australia. And it's coming at a time when the Associated Press is saying Biden held fewer press conferences than his 5 presidential predecessors.
Yeah. Well, look, you have to talk to the NATO alliance. You have to talk to all of our allies over there. But you have to remind them of this, Liz. This is their problem. This is in their backyard. My concern is every time we talk about Russia, we get pulled into a European environment. We need to focus on the greatest emergent threat we have today. That's China. And every time we get dragged back into Europe, back into Ukraine, we forget about what's happening in the East with China. And we shouldn't do that at all. And we should continue to remind the European alliance, hey, this is in your backyard. This should be of your interest. You should be arming the Ukrainians. You should be supporting the Ukrainians as well. And I don't think they are. And I think it's just Biden shows weakness, and Putin sees that, and he's going to seize on the moment. And I think it's a very, very risky and dynamic situation we're seeing in the middle of Europe right now.
We hear you loud and clear. Also, the White House is worried that Iran is plotting assassination attempts against the Trump administration officials over the U.S. strike that killed Islamic Revolutionary Guard General Qasem Soleimani. Is there a deep concern over that? That there could be retaliation from Iran against U.S. citizens?
Look, I'm one of those 50 that's on that list. Look, I'd be very clear. If I was the President of the United States, I'd pick up the phone and I'd call the Supreme Leader and said, you harm a single American. You come after a single American. It is the end of Iran as you know it. And the first target we're coming is we're going to put a missile through your front door and make it very clear. That's what Trump did with Soleimani when he took Soleimani out. Remember, the Ukrainians were so afraid of that the next morning after that strike, they shot down a Ukrainian airliner that was leaving the Tehran airport. They were very concerned that the Supreme Leader was next. We should make it very clear.
Iran
you
was
harm
concerned
an
about
American,
that. Yeah.
and Iran, as you know it, you're gone.
Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, thanks for your service to our country. Thanks for joining us again tonight. You'll be back again soon. Still to come.